Okay, so now that we're done with the render, obviously we want to head into the rendering stage of this process. But as you can see right now, like everything's super messy. We just have like the Viking woman. We have a lot of unnamed stuff. We have the lights, effects, atmosphere, and everything in one folder, and then the camera, and then the environment. So usually when I go about rendering images and trying to make the whole paintover process a bit easier, I tend to kind of split it up into layers. So what I actually do is that I create new collections and I start with, for example, layer 1. And in layer 1, we would find the things closest to the camera. So that would be obviously the hatch and the paper talismans, maybe these foreground elements. It all kind of depends on your scene, you know? So actually I am gonna select most of these rocks and the hatch and the paper talismans, and I'm gonna press M and I'm gonna add it to 0, 1. So now if we toggle that on and off, we can see that it disappears. And obviously I kind of missed a rock up here, so you just select it, press M and go to 1. And I'm gonna do the same, but I'm gonna create a second folder, call it 02. So I'm gonna add both the rocks here and the Viking woman into 02. So instead of manually selecting everything, which could be a real pain, since I already actually have all of her items and her character and everything in one folder, I can just right click the folder, press select objects, and then press M and go to 02. So now if I hide her, most of everything got included except for the knife and these parts. So let's select those, press M, 02, and if we try again, yeah, there we go. I'm actually going to separate the rocks as well, but usually I put them in with 02, but to kind of keep the layering a bit easier and manageable in Photoshop, I'm going to create a third layer. So new collection, 03. I'm going to select the rocks here. Let's see, that would include these, I think. 03. So now if we hide those, if we actually hide everything, oh, looks like we missed something there, so you can select that, add that to 1, and there we go. As for the background, I'm actually just gonna keep it just like this. I'm not even gonna bother changing any of that. So let's see. So I'm actually gonna start my first render. So if I go to the output properties here, I can set the resolution. Usually this is for the client I'm working for, this is the usual output that we work in, so I actually set that to 200 and then I hit F12 to render. But actually I just remembered that because we have some snow effects here, we want that ideally to be overlaid on top of everything. So if I render just the background, that will include the snowflakes and everything. So if we just jump out of the scene for a moment, let's see. Everything I think is in front of the Viking woman. So actually let's go back into camera view with numpad 0 and let's select all of these and move that. Just make sure you have this hooked on so you can like select everything. And what I'm going to do is actually move that out of the scene collection and create another folder with M. So new collection, snow effect, if I can type correctly. Okay. So that would be another layer we render. But to get this overlaid on top of everything, we would need to disable everything except for the snow effect. And also go to the render properties, down to film, and hook on transparent. So if we now disable the lights, effects, rocks, and everything, let's see, yeah, we get only the snow effect. So you would want to render a layer of just that. So to recap, you need to disable everything except for the transparent PNG images that I've obviously talked about in a previous video. If you haven't seen that on creating special effects in Blender, I highly recommend it. But yeah, basically you just separate everything. So you have just the snow on one image, and then under render properties, you go down to film, transparent. And obviously when you're rendering everything else, you can hook off transparent. But let's hook on transparent, make sure our resolution is set up high enough. Usually I go double the resolution than what is actually the output, because I want the highest quality render I can get to get all those details and everything. And hit F12. And here we are. So this is the snow render. I'm gonna save that. So go to image, save as, and I'm gonna create a new folder called renders. And save that as 0, 0, because that's going to go on the very top of the image. Just make sure that when you save transparent images that you have RGBA hooked on and PNG, because if you have just RGB, it's going to save with the solid color background, and that's not what we want. So RGBA, save image, and let's start rendering the first layer. So hook that off, hook on the first layer. And obviously we still want to keep the image transparent, so transparent there, and then F12. And this is the second layer, so if we zoom in, we can see it's fairly high res. Obviously the rocks aren't, so like we'll be painting over that, but yeah, let's save that, save as, and let's save that as 0, 1. Whoops, 0, 1, and RGBA, PNG, save image. Now let's go for layer 2. So layer 2. And obviously we can see she's missing a lot of lighting information and everything, but don't worry about that. We're going to render the entire image, and then we're going to use clipping masks in Photoshop and kind of overlay that on top. So we're going to get all that information back, but right now we just want the selection. We just want her and the rocks and the snow kind of isolated on its own. So again, press F12. And here's our third layer. So save as. Let's rename that to 3. So next layer would be all these rocks. So let's hit F12 again. Right, that's our rocks. So image, save as. I'm going to save that as 0, 4. And now our background. So I'm going to disable this and enable our environment and our camera and effects, and I think this was it. Yeah, okay, so hit F12 and that's our final layer. So let's go save that, 0, 5, and let's jump into Photoshop and compile all of these together. But before actually we do that, we need to save out with everything enabled, so all of the different layers. So let's go back and just hook on everything. 0, 2, 0, 3, the snow effect. Actually, let's leave out the snow effect. And let's see. Yeah, that's everything enabled, and let's hit render. Let's see if I'm missing anything. I'm actually going to save the background with the snow as well, just to make sure that if I had any snow kind of placed behind the figures, that would be included. So image, save as. And I'm going to just save the last image off screen so you don't have to see all of that again. One thing we need to do is also make a color mask render. I've actually made a video on that on PolyCosm before, where it's a bit more extensive, kind of talking about 2 different ways of creating color masks in Blender. So instead of going through all of that again, I highly recommend just watching that, and I'm just going to jump to the color render. So see you in a bit. So I was actually going to jump just straight to the color render, but actually I wanted to talk about something, because right now you can see, because we've duplicated the same rocks over and over in the environment, what happens is that we get a lot of these overlapping shapes, and that's not necessarily what we want. So what we can do to combat that is if we just select whatever we want. So actually I'm just going to disable the lights and atmosphere here, because I think, yeah, some of the planes are blocking, so I'm just going to disable that. So what I actually want to do is select the one that I want to be separated and go to Objects, Relations, Make Single Users, Objects, Data and Materials. And if I do that, we can see that this has been switched to 2, and now if we change the color, it's going to be its own thing. So let's set that to purple. And let's actually repeat the process for this back one as well. So object, relations, make single users, object, data, and materials. And let's actually copy this color. So Control C, you just hover over this and press Control C, go into here, press Control V, and there we go. And I think that's about it. The only thing I want to get rid of now is if we go to the shader settings, we hook off cavity and outline, and there we go. We also need to make sure we don't have any outlines up here, because if we now render it like this, we'll include some of these outlines. So let's make sure that's off and go to view, viewport render image, and it's going to render whatever we've set the render resolution to here. So I'm actually going to set it a bit higher, so maybe 300%. Hit save. And also, by the way, if I didn't mention it, I created a copy, because every time I do this, I always create a color copy for every 3D scene, just in case I've made any changes that I'm going to regret. So just go to view, viewport render image, and now we just wait. And one thing I actually forgot to do was to hook off the transparency thing. So if we now go to view, viewport render image, we now get everything with the background. So yeah, this looks good. So let's go to image, save as, and just call this color. Save that image, and let's jump into Photoshop. So we have Photoshop open in the background here. What I need to do is kind of like make sure that I have the correct resolution. So if I right click and go to properties and details, you can see the resolution here. And we want to make sure that we've set it to 300 dpi, which is always the minimum I work in. That just assures the best quality when you're working with prints and posters, and just in general, it's a good number to kind of stand by. So let's close that, and in Photoshop, let's write in those numbers. So 3414, 5120, and make sure it's set to 300 and RGB color. We're going to eventually turn it into CMYK color eventually when we're done with the illustration, but for now we're going to keep it in RGB. So okay, and what I'm going to do is select everything and then just drag and drop and hit enter to add everything in. And sometimes, I don't know if this is like a weird bug in like the old Photoshop, but sometimes you need to just kind of realign to just make sure that it perfectly kind of snaps to the edges. So there we go. I always usually keep the color render at the top. So if I need to select any specific portions, like I need only the belts or only the cloth or the bag or her legs, I can do that very easily. So now, since we have, let's actually go through what we have. So this is in the background. It's actually gotten the order a bit wrong. So 0, 1. Oh, it actually looks like we've skipped a number. Whoops. So it's 3, 4, 5. So alternatively, yeah, actually that looks better. So let's keep the one with the snow on. So what we can do now is if we enable this, we can kind of see the difference. Actually, let's move the snow to on top of here. So you can see that with everything rendered, it looks much better. Like you get nicer shadows. Everything just looks a lot more crisp. You get that fog overlap happening and everything. It just looks much better. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a copy. So you can just drag that down to new layer, or you can right click and press duplicate layer. And then we're going to create a clipping mask. So let's start with this layer, which is the hatch, and then we're going to right click and press create clipping mask. And if you can see the difference, I don't know, it doesn't add that much difference, but you can see it kind of adds a bit of like atmosphere and kind of reflection happening there. I personally think it looks a lot better. And we're going to repeat the process for all of the layers. So drag down, copy, go down here, enable it, press create clipping mask. You see the difference here, just so much better. We can do the same for the rest. So copy, drag down, right click, create clipping mask. It's already a big improvement. And then I don't think it will be necessary for the background, but let's see. Yeah, it looks like there was already a bit more depth in the background. So let's just keep it like that right now. So now we can actually merge all of these together. So you just shift select both of them, press Ctrl E, shift select both of these, press Ctrl E, shift select both of these, press Ctrl E, and we're just gonna leave this for now. So now if you press the full render on, you can see nothing changes, so that's good. So now if I disable the full render down here, if I now disable each layer, you can see that they're on their own layers. So if I now chose, for example, paint only on the Viking woman, I can press this button, which basically locks the transparent pixels, so you can only paint on the solid pixels in this layer. So if we press that, and if we choose a bold color, for example, pink, let's make that a bit bigger, we can now paint on only that layer without affecting anything else. So this is going to be very useful for dropping in textures, and we're eventually going to drop in a portrait of a woman and kind of replace this face with that face and do a full paint over. So that's going to also be very useful. Another thing that's very useful by having everything on its own layers is that you can add several adjustments. So say that you didn't like the color of the Viking, for example, you can add a selective color, for example, and just make sure you have that clipped to that very layer. So if you wanted all of the reds to kind of be more red or kind of a bit more blue or maybe green or purple, you can kind of make these type of adjustments, or anything that's, for example, neutral, you can make it more cool. You can add more of a blue hue to everything, or kind of make things a bit warmer or brighter or darker. So it's very useful kind of having things on its own layers. And as for the color layers, when you have that on top, you can go to select color range, and say we only wanted to select her shirt, we could do that like this, and then we could choose the fuzziness, so maybe like that. And if we wanted to change the colors of only that, we could create a hue saturation adjustment, and let's actually clip that to that very layer, and then change the color like this, or make it darker, maybe more saturated, and change it to a completely different color. So you can see how color layers are very handy for selecting specific areas of the image. All right, that marks the end of this part. In the next, we'll finally start the paint over, which I am super excited about. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.